Hello and welcome to another episode of the Popcorn Conspiracy. I'm Dave G, and joining me right now is my co-host.
Hello everybody, I'm Kyle.
And today we're taking a look at the film that, of course, had Golden Globe success, and they are already saying that the Oscar run now is between this film and Minari. The film that we're talking about today is Nomadland. An independent film, and it's got all the Oscar buzz at the moment. Now, the film itself is directed by Chloe Zhao, and I'm sure we're going to be saying her name for a long time to come because I think she's the new Kelly Reichardt. The film itself is about Fern, played by Frances McDormand. Now, her husband has passed away. She was stuck in this mining town that fell apart once the mine left, and she suddenly finds herself kind of homeless, although she doesn't call it that. She says she's houseless because she's got a home in her van. And what she basically does is she lives in a clapped out van that's been turned into a camper van. She travels around from job to job, kind of seasonal work, and she hangs out with these other people that are commonly referred to as nomads. Now, the film itself is interesting in the sense that, aside from Frances McDormand and David Strathairn, most other people involved with this movie are actual nomads that Chloe Zhao actually got and put around David Strathairn and Frances McDormand. So, majority of the cast of this movie are non-actors. And the really interesting dilemma now coming out of that is apparently there's a huge push in Hollywood for one of the supporting actresses in this film to get a supporting actress film Oscar nomination, and she's not an actress. So that's causing a little bit of an interesting dilemma in Hollywood at the moment. But, mate, I've got to say, what did you think of Nomadland, seeing this is the movie that seems to be scooping all of the awards at the moment?
Yeah, I liked it. It also I guess it highlights how bad last year was for, I guess, the big high profile Hollywood movie release schedule, when this was a film I'd never heard of until a month or so ago, and everyone's suddenly saying that this is a shoo-in for Best Picture because there's not really much else out. But I did find it to be a really interesting movie, and one that I think is maybe a little bit hard to recommend for people because it's so hard to explain what exactly it is as far as the story is concerned. In fact, if you were to read any of the IMDb plot summaries, none of them feel correct to me, and it sounds like they're kind of describing a totally different film. It looks like it's a movie about a woman who's forced to live a nomadic, hand-to-mouth lifestyle, but there's more to it than that, which makes the film a bit hard to summarize. It's much more a film which showcases Frances McDormand's amazing performance and how much she, despite being practically Hollywood royalty at this point in her career, really, she feels so natural as this character Fern.
Yeah.
Amongst, as you say, almost an entire cast of non-actors, more or less playing themselves. So I think, like on that level, it really is a movie that really showcases her. Just what an amazing actress Frances McDormand is in this role. What did you think of it, David?
Yeah, look, I find this such a fascinating movie. This is the kind of film that I love. I loved Kelly Reichardt's Wendy and Lucy. I just love that style where there's some directors who just seem to work with a great cinematographer, and they just set up the camera and go, right, that's the shot that I want, and then put their actors in front of it. I think it's very rare that we get directors and cinematographers like that these days. I don't know how to describe it. It's just so natural. There's so many movies out there these days where you watch it and you just know that it's taken them an hour or so to set up the lights, to get the right lighting and stuff like that. Whereas you get a movie like this, or Meek's Cut Off, or Wendy and Lucy, and you know the director's just gone, wow, what a spectacular sunset. Let's set up a camera and shoot our actors doing a scene in front of it. And it looks spectacular. It just has this really natural feel to it. And there's a bit in this movie where Frances McDormand is walking through the town where she lived, and it's all wrecked, and you just know that there's no tripod or anything like that there with the camera crew. They're just following Frances McDormand, and you know that the script for that scene would have just read, Fern walks through the house that she once lived in, and they would have just said to Frances McDormand, go for it. And to her credit, there's not very many actresses that would have pulled that off either. Like, I'll be honest, she's not an actress that ever really stood out to me until I saw Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. I fell in love with that movie and fell in love with her acting in that film. I thought that she was just otherworldly in that film. And since then, I've gone back and tracked down some of her other films, and she's such a natural performer. I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't live a nomad's life almost when they were making this movie. That's how natural it feels.
I think she did, actually, yeah.
Yeah, but even like the people that are around her, sometimes you can watch these kind of movies where there's non-actors and they really stand out, but they don't here, and you just know that that's all because Frances McDormand is so natural that she would have just sat down with a nomad and started talking to them, and the director has just recorded that conversation. And that to me is just, I don't know, like you can't manufacture that kind of filmmaking. It either happens or it doesn't.
Yeah, like in some ways, it's kind of like I was thinking of it, and this might be a weird way to describe it, I guess, but it's kind of like a non-comedic, non-candid camera Borat like movie where almost everybody but Frances McDormand is basically playing themselves. I don't know how much of the dialogue is improvised. It seems like a lot of it, like a lot of what they're doing, just seems to be them going about their own lifestyle, you know, their own what they're doing, and they've just kind of shot this movie within it. So there's not like a whole lot of like a structure to the plot.
Yeah.
But it's okay because that's not really what the movie's about. There's lots of montages and scenes of Fern in different camps or working different jobs, seeing new people and listening to their stories, and the movie, like, it really takes on a road documentary style to it, almost.
It feels like a documentary with an actress put in it, really.
Yeah, very much, and like it's a very American movie, and I don't mean that like in a derogatory way. I mean that the people and places and the stories and the beautiful scenery that you see, like, it's very much uniquely American to me. And and as you say, when Frances McDormand's, when she's walking through her where she used to live, that's, I mean, it's not a set. That's an actual just a dead town. That's like an American. That's what the movie is kind of about. Like these are people that they don't have homes, and it's like this character did have one. And you think, like, how many people lived in this company town, and what did they do? Did they move to another company town? Did they become nomads? Like, did they become homeless? Or like. And, just Frances McDormand, like, she blends into this whole thing like she really belongs there, even though, of course, she's, like, Oscar-winning, huge movie, big-time actress Frances McDormand. Like, she's like a chameleon in how she like how authentic the character of Fern feels amongst all of this.
Yeah.
Like, so it's little wonder that she's the favorite for every major leading lady acting award of this award season.
Someone said to me once the reason they like Tom Cruise is because you can tell when you're watching Tom Cruise act that Tom Cruise believes he is whatever he's playing. So, like, for Top Gun, Tom Cruise believes that he is a fighter pilot, or for Days of Thunder, he believes that he's a car racer. And I see the same with Frances McDormand. I see her, that when she goes into a role like this, she fully engulfs herself in that world, and she becomes an expert in it for the entire time that she's doing the film. I think the friendship that we see on the screen between Fern and Swanky, I think if they're really honest, Frances McDormand probably would have met with Swanky before the film was made, because I almost get the feeling that Fern is based on Swanky a little bit. Like, it just feels that way. Swanky is also the person that they're talking about for a possibility of a Best Supporting Actress nomination as well. But yeah, it really astounded me, like, just how well those people were. Like, what did you think of Swanky's performance? She was the older lady nomad that Fern made friends with.
Oh, I thought everybody in the movie, they felt so natural, and like, as you said, like she was kind of a standout in the same way that Frances McDormand was.
Yeah.
I almost nothing against David Stratham's character or performance, because he was really great in the movie as well. But I almost wish that that even his character was played by an actual, like, real life nomad person, you know, like the way that I guess her name actually is Swanky.
Yeah, yeah.
The way that how authentic she feels. She doesn't feel like, oh, here's a bad actor, like, giving off lines or whatever. She feels like an authentic character in this story, in this movie. So it's almost like the fact that there was a second actual professional actor in the movie. It's almost like it didn't need that, because, as you see, somebody like Swanky is so good that the movie just needed Frances McDormand as kind of a focal point of the film, and she was able to blend in with this whole world so well.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think of, well, the validity of, we'll say that Swanky's more or less playing herself. Again, I need to look into it more to see exactly how much of it's scripted, how much of it's improvised, all that. But what do you think the validity of the idea of giving, like, Best Supporting Actor awards to somebody who's more or less is the role that they're playing? Like, do you think that's something that they should do, or what?
Yeah, I was having this discussion earlier today with someone, and there was actually an actor in the 1940s who won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor, and he wasn't an actor. They were making a movie and they needed a returned soldier with no arms, and they found one and put him in the movie, and he ended up winning an Oscar. Because I think at the end of the day, an actor is somebody who's in front of the camera playing a character, because you could argue that Swanky is playing herself, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure, considering I've seen interviews and stuff with her in the last couple of weeks, that she's not terminally ill like the character is in the film. So she's got to act that. She's not sitting there coughing up blood like that's acted. And really, it's no different to any other actor being in a film that hasn't gone to acting college, really. Like, if like, you think about how many musicians or how many models over the years have made the transition to acting without any training. Like, even Eminem, go back to, like, 8 Mile, when they put Eminem into that movie. He's not a classically trained actor, and he's pretty much playing a character that's him. And people at the time then were saying that he deserved an award. He never got it, but he probably deserved it. I don't see any difference, really, with somebody playing a role like that, because they're still being asked to act. Like, it's not a candid camera thing where Chloe Zhao's just set up a camera and said, "Oh, we're just gonna video them doing this." Like, they are.
She knows. Yeah, they know they're performing. So.
Yeah. So I don't really have a problem with it. I don't see it. Yeah, like I said, any different to someone getting an acting award that's never had any formal acting training. I mean, even Brad Pitt. Like, I might be a little bit wrong with this, but going on from what I've heard, Brad Pitt ended up acting in films coming straight out of modeling. The same with, like, Pamela Anderson. Pamela Anderson got her start because she was spotted on the big screen at a football game. And yeah, like, if they won an Oscar, then okay. I mean, no, that sounds stupid, Pamela Anderson winning an Oscar. But if she won an Oscar, yeah, if she came out tomorrow and did, like, a movie, like a Mickey Rourke, the wrestler style film where she turned around her career and had a career best moment and she won an Oscar, I don't think anyone would laugh. But yeah, so to me, I wouldn't laugh if Swankie was nominated for a Best Actress, a Best Supporting Actress award, because I think she would deserve it.
Yeah, me too. Because, like, yeah, she was great, and it was. I think that Chloe Zhao, like, she's done a great job getting these performances out of everybody in the movie, and as you say, the cinematography by Joshua James Richards was just beautiful. Like, I think you said that the movie in America is playing on some IMAX screens.
Yeah.
Which, that's great, because it's like, it is such a beautiful movie. As I say, it looks like some kind of a documentary almost. It looks like it's it could be made for IMAX docos, like, with how beautiful the scenery in the film is.
Do you think the success of this film might almost bring a change to how films are made in America? Because this week I watched the new documentary called Walkabout to Hollywood, which looked at David Gulpeville, and before him, if an Australian filmmaker wanted to use an Indigenous Australian, except for one actor that had been before him, they would normally get a white person to black their face, or in one case, they actually used Kamal, the Sri Lankan singer, to play an Indigenous Australian. And they said, but once David Gulpeville made a movie, and they realized, and I don't mean this to be a personal opinion, it was the opinion of directors at the time, that they could work with Aboriginal people. They started to cast other Aboriginal actors, and then if they did need to go and do a scene with a tribe of Aboriginals, they would actually go and use a tribe of Aboriginals rather than paying white people to black their faces. Do you think that in future, after the success of, like, what's happened with Nomadland, if a director is going to go and make a movie, say, about an auto factory, they will go and get actors and then have the extras being actual auto factory workers rather than paid extras?
I think they might, because, like, they kind of do that to some extent now, I guess. Like Martin Scorsese, I know, hires a lot of, well, I wouldn't say he hires actual gangsters, but he hires kind of people from that world, you know, to play background characters in his mob movies. You know, people are actually kind of, they do kind of brush up against that, people of that lifestyle. But I think it would depend if Swankie did win a supporting actress Oscar for this movie, like that would, I think that really would get a lot of other filmmakers to kind of open their eyes and see, yeah, even for like even these supporting roles, we don't really need a name actor to play that part. We can have like somebody that's actually real and authentic to that. Like find somebody there and actually like make them work. I think it could spawn like kind of change in Hollywood from to come out of this movie. Especially with like all the stuff that's going on with COVID and stuff like that. I think a lot of movies like in the future they are going to maybe be made on smaller scale than they have been leading up to this.
Yeah.
You have a movie like this that, as you say, it looks like somebody's just shot it, like grabbed the camera and just followed Frances McDormand around the place.
Yeah, and we had
these,
and we had the movie that came out during the lockdown last year as well from South America called Monos, which was about child soldiers, and the director of that film was picking out actors to play child soldiers, and then he actually met with a guy who was a former child soldier, and he was supposed to come on board to shoot the film and be like an advisor, and the director said after working with him for 3 or 4 days, he realized that he wasn't going to be able to find anybody that could play a character like that. This guy was perfect for it, so they ended up working.
So it's like Ollie Ermy from Full Metal Jacket playing the drill instructor. Like he was a technical advisor, but he was so like he knew he was so great that Stanley Kubrick had to give him the lead role. So like there have been like incidents of this happening in the past, but I just say that I don't think we've ever seen a movie. Well, I haven't seen many movies, I guess, where you could point to it and say like there's really only one or two professional actors in this entire movie. There's so many characters in this film, but there's only maybe two professional actors in the whole thing, and everybody else is more or less playing themselves, and it's great.
Yeah.
So like I think I think they really I guess depending on if people are willing to make that change in Hollywood, then I think that some people, it might change the way that some movies are made.
Definitely. Now, we've probably yabbered on for long enough, so what are you going to give this one out of 5?
I'm going to give this one 4 out of 5. I thought, it was just beautifully acted, beautifully shot, and just the as well as that, I didn't really go into the movie sounded amazing as well. The score or music of Ludovico Einaudi that plays through most of the film was just amazing, and I think at least so far he's been somewhat overlooked as far as the awards go. I don't think he's really gotten the notoriety from how much his music actually appears in this film. I don't think he's really gotten as much of a write-up as he deserves, because that music really works well with the films for how much the scenery and shots like that. So, I'm going to give this movie 4 out of 5. I really did enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm going to give this one 4.5 out of 5. I really, really love this film. In fact, I cannot wait actually to go back and see it again. Like, it's just one of those movies that I think you almost need to watch it twice to get the most out of it. Just before we throw to anything else though, Oscar-wise, do you think it's got a good shot? Like, I know you haven't seen Minari, the one that everyone reckons it'll be up against, but do you think it's got a shot?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I said at the start, there hasn't really been a lot of there. You wouldn't say there's a lot of competition this year, just because of the way things are. Movies like French Dispatch, which just is a movie that I'm really interested to see, and just keeps getting pushed back. I think that this movie being really being like something that's come out of nowhere, and it's one that everybody's talking about. I think this movie really does have a good chance of sweeping the award.
Yeah, because
it's a year where what do you call it, Borat can win an Emmy for best comedy. So, yeah, there's not a lot of other things, but at the same time, like, this movie really, I think this movie, it really is a great movie, and I think that it really does. No, I can really see it winning. Would you think that this one would win maybe over Minari? I know you've seen Minari. I haven't had a chance to yet.
Yeah, so this is where I think it's going to be really interesting, because Minari is actually a American film, but it is 80% Korean, like with the script. So there's a lot of people saying that they might split it so they can give it to both, so that they might actually put that into best foreign language film, which is technically incorrect, because it is an American film. So it's kind of interesting. The interesting thing for me is going to be, what are the Oscars going to do with Frances McDormand? Because remember, she got nominated for the Golden Globe, but she actually lost the award to Andra Day. So will she win the Oscar after she's missed out on the Golden Globes? I guess we kind of have to wait now. The next big awards coming out are the BAFTAs, and Frances McDormand's been nominated again. But yeah, it's kind of interesting that Frances McDormand, everyone's kind of talking about the fact that she's a shoo-in for the Golden Globes, but yeah, she didn't actually win the Golden Globe this year. Her Golden Globe was from a few years ago when she won for 3 Billboards. So yeah, that could be kind of interesting. I think if it goes head to head with Minari, Nomadland should win. It's awards that it picked up at the Golden Globes was Best Director and Best Film. So yeah, I think it probably deserves it just a little bit more than Minari. I thought Minari was a great film, but I think Nomadland kind of held my attention a little bit more than what Minari did at times. So that's our massive wrap-up of Nomadland. Ended up getting 4 stars from Kyle and 4.5 from me. We'll be back very, very soon with another episode of The Popcorn Conspiracy, but for now, I've been Dave G.
And I've been Kyle.
And we'll be back soon with another episode.